good joke.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm Kento, come from China. I'm interested in arts. Therefore, after I finish in ALCI, I will choose visual arts for my major. Today, I have the pleasure to share with you about my topic, graffiti as an art form. Before I get started, please let me introduce why I choosing this topic. Have you ever been to the Getty Center?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is a very famous art museum located in West Los Angeles. And I went to Getty Center with my two friends in this May. By the way, I'm so glad they can come today. The Getty Center located in West Los Angeles. Therefore, we need to cross the downtown LA. I found a very huge wall with graffiti works when we drove past the downtown Los Angeles. Also, I found some graffiti works in Getty Center. A question coming to my mind, is this art? After I got to home, I did some research, and I found whether graffiti should be considered as art is a big controversial topic in the world. Before we talking about these problems, please let me tell you what is graffiti. The definition of graffiti is driving or writing, scribble on the public space. Some people prefer to call themselves graffiti writer and using spray and marks, painting on the street, buildings, or subways, anywhere you can see. Next, I will talk about a little history about graffiti in the American to help you establish a better understanding of graffiti. Graffiti was born in Bronx in 1960s in Bronx, New York, where is the poorest district at that time. The people in Bronx complain about the life, because there have so many social problems like violence and crime. One interesting reason is Bronx have so many empty space like a public park. It sounds like a venue for graffiti writers. According to Smith, young people stealing spray from store and use it to make graffiti on the street to complain about life. This is reality at that time. I guess some people may still disagree with graffiti is art. The most effective to solve these problems is to help them establish the complete understanding of art. According to Oxford Dictionary, the most prevalent expression style art is visual. It emphasizes the creative skills, imagination. It also have a stronger emotion power of authors. Do you think graffiti is art?
I think it's art.
Okay. Some people believe that graffiti is art because it is beautiful and creative, but some negative opinion think graffiti is vandalism and crime. I believe that graffiti should be considered as art because graffiti is creative. Graffiti requires professional skills. Also, graffiti has been recognized in some communities. Today, I will argue that. Let's begin with how graffiti have creative. Can you imagine? Graffiti writer created more than 30 kinds of graffiti style in the world. It's like three-dimension styles, wild styles, also abstract styles, just like Pablo Picasso. Also, some graffiti works expression special emotion of graffiti writers. Sometimes making graffiti require teamwork because a person cannot finish a big piece by themselves. Let's see this example. This is three-dimension style of graffiti. The purpose of graffiti writer created this style is to emphasize reality, illusion, and shadow to make it look like more real. Another example can show us how graffiti expression emotions. This is a very famous artist named called Banksy, who's a British. He created this work in Brooklyn Heights in 2030 years, September 11. This is a special day. And as we can see, the Banksy using a flower replaced the iron cutter hit the World Tree building to memorize someone who died in this event. So graffiti have creativity. However, someone think graffiti is not creative. According to Upper, we can see 85% of graffiti is vandalism. Another 10% is gun communication. However, I will say his opinion is naive. Because graffiti content actually depends on district and graffiti writers. Graffiti content depends on the district and writers. We cannot ignore good graffiti content by vandalism and gun connection. Next, let's move on to professional skills. Some graffiti looks like painting. The only difference is tools. Therefore, graffiti writer must master the painting skills like how to make a good color, how to match in good color, the good composition and driving clear line. Also, graffiti using different tools. So the spray pen have a different noodles. Therefore, graffiti writer need to study how to control it before they paint. I will explain it later. Let's look at this example. This is a graffiti draft in the paper. You can see a very clearly line and a good color matching and change the font. This example can show us that painting skills is a foundation of graffiti. Here is a different spray effect. If you went to the Home Depot and bought the spray pen, you may understand how difficult to control it. Because spray is a technology produced, the user need using finger press the nozzles and make color out. If the nozzle close to the wall, the color will difficult to be recognized. The other way is another effect. So this example can show us that tool technologies. However, some old graffiti writers believe that this is not real graffiti. The old graffiti writer prefer to traditional definition of graffiti. They think the graffiti should be free to write on the street. The illegal graffiti should be considered as real graffiti. However, I will think the art is always developing. The good example is rock music. As you know, the style of rock music in the beginning sounds more crazy and hard to be accepted as people. But over time, the art music style expands so many branches and getting more gentle. People more like gentle rock. I will say the graffiti is same. Graffiti is keep developing. The last point is graffiti has been recognized in some communities. In the world, some of government in the world encourage legal graffiti, just like Melbourne, New York, and Beijing. Also, some graffiti works has been collected in the arts museum. Here is art district in Beijing. Before it became an art district, it's an abandoned factory. And more artists coming and painting here. From the first one came here, did a good graffiti job. The Beijing government accepted and encouraged these activities because it's refreshing up the factory. This example can show us the government attitude about the graffiti. Here is a graffiti works name called Sunset. It was being collected in the Brooklyn Museum. The author is Lady Pink, who created it in 1988. I believe that this example can show us graffiti has been recognized in professional communities. However, some of government still give graffiti zero tolerance, just like Los Angeles Police Department, because a lot of graffiti work in the city, and the government have to spend more than $700 million to clean this each year. But I will say this is a legal issue, not arts issue. Legal issue can be solved, and legal issue do not prevent graffiti from being art. In conclusion, graffiti should be considered as art form because graffiti is creative. Graffiti requires professional skills. Also, graffiti has been recognized by some communities. I believe that graffiti may become a new painting style in the future. Thank you. If you have questions, it's time to ask. Ernest.
Hi, Kento. Thank you so much. I enjoyed the presentation. As a kid, I grew up in the Bronx, New York, and I remember seeing graffiti when it first started. Well, not when it first started, but maybe a couple years after. But did you remember when spray paint came out? And I remember the graffiti was just all over the place, especially on the trains,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
subways. And I just remember reacting negatively to it because it didn't appeal to me as art. It was actually kind of ugly, and it was more vandalism. And then of course,
Is this your personal opinion?
but I'm working up to it.
Okay.
And there was some graffiti that looked kind of nice, but the majority of it was really, terrible. It was like it was vandalism.
Yeah.
And so my question is, are you saying that all graffiti should be considered as art? At what point in your mind, is there a distinction between vandalism and art in terms of graffiti? At what point does it become art, and what point does it become vandalism?
I think vandalism and arts is a problems need to solve. So I disagree. All graffiti is arts,
Okay.
but I will say graffiti is developing.
Okay. Good answer. Thank you.
Perfect.
How come you didn't talk more about the connection between graffiti and crime, or graffiti and gangs? Like in Los Angeles, the tagging represents not just the art, quote unquote, but the gang activity. This is our territory.
First, Los Angeles have a gang, and second, the graffiti in the beginning is be used to gain connection, and I believe that Los Angeles Police Department have a traditional thinking, very old thinking for this opinion, and another reason is to consider about safety. Because graffiti is crime hidden.
Crime what?
Hidden.
Yeah.
So, do I make sense?
All right. What's your future in graffiti?
I will try. Yeah, but only in the legal area.
Okay.
Watch out for the gangs.
No. So some artists call graffiti is art crime. I think this is a good definition for graffiti because between art and crime, it's a problems need to solve. I mean, how can we definition of how can we boundary between the arts or vandalism is another problems. Professor.
So you mentioned the history of graffiti that a lot of times it was made with a connection for, I guess, for games and everything, but now you're talking about more about, I guess, modern, where it can be a expression of art. It can be where people can express their creativity, their emotions. So do you think this can be a type of, it can be therapeutic? It can be like so is it art because it's something that shows good color, or is it more because it's therapeutic? Because therapeutic, it can be a beautiful art.
I believe this is art.
It's art because of the color?
Not only because color, because just like I said, because creative and skills, and also the most important is graffiti is developing. So this is a trend.
It's a treat.
Okay, thanks a lot.
It's a little dark. Would you say what do you think?
As long as she can see.
Are you all? Can you see her though?
It's a little dark.
A little dark. Okay, so keep it on. All right. So next we have Esther, and she's going to talk to us about religious involvement can help people recover from depression. So let's welcome Esther.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Esther. Today I will talk about how Christian religious environment help people with depression. Before I start, I would like to describe why this topic is very significant. When I was in Japan, I was a missionary and encountered many people with mental illness. We have counseling center in church. Although they have many problems, nobody helped them. So they want to find another ways. For example, they might not come out the house, or they might choose commit suicide. Nowadays, the number of the people with depression in Japan is increasing. In additionally, the severity of depression in the world is increasing rapidly. Depression is a serious issue. There are many people suffer from depression in United States of America. According to the United States National Institute of Mental Health, 2014, around 60% adults self-reported that they have been depressed in their life. This is very high percentage. How can we help suffer from this depression? Christian religion's environment provides one solution for depression recovery. At this time, we will talk about what depression is. According to United States National State Institute of Mental Health 2014, depression is a period of 2 weeks or longer during which there is either depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasures. They reflect a change of functioning such as problems with sleep, eating, energy, concentration, and self-image. I would like to show you a short video.
Okay, Google. What's a good substitute for butter?
For every cup of butter, substitute 3/4 cup of...
Depression is a disorder that afflicts over 10% of the world's population, but we as a society know little about it. Stereotypes tell us that depressed people are weak, unless they happen to be a tortured artist. It can be difficult to understand depression because it's invisible. It's a disorder defined by thoughts, behaviors, and feelings, rather than obvious symptoms like vomiting, rashes, or fever. Those who have experienced depression are all too familiar with comments from misguided friends such as "snap out of it" or "just get up and do something." Even those with depression might have a hard time understanding what they are experiencing, and they often blame themselves for not being able to snap out of it. To understand what depression really is, we need to talk about symptoms. First of all, depression has symptoms related to how someone feels. These symptoms include nearly constant feelings of sadness, anger, guilt, or hopelessness. Next, there are symptoms related to behavior. They include social withdrawal, a lack of energy, low motivation, poor concentration, sleep problems, or significant changes in appetite. Finally, symptoms related to thoughts include poor self-esteem, thoughts of suicide, and loss of interest in regular activities. Symptoms of depression must last at least 1 week, and they are often cyclical. This means that the symptoms can come and go over a period of months or years. A person who experiences depression once is likely to have future episodes. It can be difficult to think of these thoughts, feelings, and behaviors as symptoms, to many of us because they are in our
As you can see through the video, depression has many symptoms: sadness, anger, guilt, or hopelessness. There are symptoms related to behavior: low motivation, sleep problems, and poor concentration. Next, what is religious environment? What is religious environment? Christian religious environment includes worship, Bible study, and small group. Religious environment help people recover from depression because the first, reduce stress. Second, eliminate high-risk behavior. Third, provide a strong support system. As we know, the biggest cause of depression is stress. What kind of stress do you have? For example, we just final test, right? Even though we finished the finals, we couldn't do well. We feel stress. I lost my confidence. This is stress, right? But according to Krause and Bantran 1988, people's self-worth would go down due to stress, but could be lifted up through religious environment. This is good news. Yes. Next, religious environment can reduce from personal relationship. There are many kinds of character who are introvert, who are extrovert. So many people feel stress from personal relationship. Do you know AA? AA is Alcoholics Anonymous group. It's group therapy. It is alcohol addicts gathering together, share about their private problems, other people listening this problem, and encourage them. So, after this, the addict could recover step by step their stress from alcoholism. Third, religious environment can reduce impact of stressful illness. Many people struggle their illness, and they didn't have solution of the illness because human being has limited power. But if you go to church, you met Jesus Christ, you will reduce your illness of stress of illness. The Bible said Jesus Christ healed blind, lame, even dead Lazarus. Sometimes when we pray, our heart and body are healed because nothing is impossible to Jesus. Next, by the way, some scientists against this opinion. Church is another stress. According to Fragan 2006, church is a place of racial prejudice. It brings more stress rather than healing. However, according to Elkin 2005, faith can help you cope with illness. Although it is true, churches where prejudice exists, but the true purpose of the church is we found good, real faith. In other words, church release environment can be powerful stress buffer, enhancing your ability. Remove one, religious environment can help recover from depression because it eliminate high-risk behaviors. First, prevent to commit suicide. Second, protect from alcoholism. Third, helping the resident attending school student. First, prevent suicide. When I was in Japan, I received call at midnight. She wants to suicide. I was so surprised, but I counseled her through the telephone for one hour. Next week, she came our church. She accepted Jesus Christ. She believed in God. Definitely, she found out her true purpose of life. So I proclaimed, church is prevent suicide. Next, church protect from alcoholism. There are many kind of addiction. What kind of addiction do you have? Alcohol addiction is definitely defined as a chronic disease in which your body and mind become dependent on alcohol. We cannot control addiction because addiction is chronic disease. So I proclaim that Christian religious environment can help alcoholism. Through Bible scripture, we realize God can help our addiction. Christian religious environment can help trans. Trans means is the resident attending school student. I had a friend. Her three daughters were bullied. Do you know bullied? Yes. And did not go to school anymore. So their parents started schooling, church schooling. They were healed through church schooling. Nowadays, I heard that one daughter was accepted to good university. This is good news. So I proclaim that church help trans. Church can help trans people. However, some scientists against this opinion. Church influence too small. But Nevertheless, according to the Wallace 2009, the higher the level of religiosity in a school, the lower the likelihood the student will use marijuana. Do you like marijuana? I'm sorry. Even when controlling for individual student religiosity. In other words, students at church has a lower chance of using marijuana. So I proclaim that church influence is big. Religious environment provides a strong support system. First, Bible study. Second, counseling. And third, worship service.
You have a few more minutes, okay?
I have a few more minutes.
Yeah, it's 15
yes.
right now.
Yes. Through Bible study, people with depression are made aware of God's love. Yes. Second, counseling. According to 2016, when individuals and counseling to deal with symptoms and effects of stress and anxiety. Third, worship service. We already mentioned about worship is what is worship. But according to John K. Graham, 2011, church is discouraged self-interest. However, God says, help us when we cry for help. According to Psalm 86, when I am in distress, I call to you because you answer me. When people go through suffering, church and belief can encourage to overcome their problems. If you go to church, even you failed, but we can recover our every circumstance situation. In conclusion, we talked about religious environment can help people recover from depression because reduce their stress, eliminate high-risk behavior, and provide a strong support system. Thank you. Please feel free to ask questions.
I have a question.
Thank you.
I agree your point about church can help
Thank you.
people, and especially depressed people go out, shed. But there have, I think, a problem, a serious problem, because in church member, a lot of people didn't professional, especially in the small group. Some depression people go out into this group, and some people help him, but maybe cause a big, serious problem.
Yeah.
I have an example in my church. One day, a little girl called me, my group leader called me, said his member suicide because he is depression.
Yes.
But why such things happen? Because the depression people called him, but he didn't answer, so he feel lonely. So my question is, how do you prevent such things?
Yes. This is good question. We have two counseling. One is clinical counseling, and one is pastoral counseling. But most church has pastoral counseling. So pastoral counseling is when we met client, we met their problem, and we pray to their so recover them. So I think we need more clinical counseling. So we need more professional thing. So we have many problems. Yes, yeah.
Thanks for your presentation. I'm just curious, why did you talk about alcoholism?
Yeah.
It's an important topic,
Yeah.
but your topic is depression.
Yeah.
Is there a connection?
Yeah.
You also talked about truancy.
Yeah.
Can you just explain, why would you include that?
Yeah, I think very related to alcoholism with truants. People with depression is related to alcoholism and truants because I already mentioned about very deep, important reason is stress. So if you have stress, we want to find another solution. So I think their people with depression will find another ways. So I think related to alcoholism and truants.
Other questions?
Thank you for your presentation. So I was curious, listening to your whole presentation, I do agree that church can be a possible, a supporting community. My question is the church that you mentioned, do you think they are ready to embrace these people who come with these problems? Talk about people who have alcohol problems, people who are depressed. And so do you know if this is one particular church you're talking about that you know of, or is there like a study that has looked at churches, if they are actually ready to, they're prepared to be able to provide these services?
This church is how to prevent this problem?
I was wondering in your research if you found any research about churches in general, if there's any programs or if there's any.
Yeah, we have many programs.
So is there particular churches that you looked at, one or two, or? Yeah,
particular. I introduced this church that Saddleback Church. Do you know Saddleback Church is pastor name is Rick Warren. Yeah, we have 12 staff. We have 12 staff for depression, for alcoholism. This is good sample. I think this is good church sample church. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Last but not least.
Yeah. So next, we will hear from Gary Bauhaus. So come on up, Gary.
Wait a second.
Come on, get dressed first.
Hand up. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Gary. I come from China. After finishing LCI, I will choose marketing for my major. Today, I have the pleasure of sharing my interested topic. Under Armour has the potential to become the #1 sports company in the future. Before I get started, I'm going to talk about some background about Under Armour. Under Armour was founded in 1996 by Kevin Plank. He was a football player before. When he was playing football, he hated to change the sweaty T-shirt over and over again. So he created a solution. In fact, he was only 23 years old at that time. And he designed the first under-mass product called heat gear. Called heat gear in his grandma's basement. That's amazing. But you know, it's over time. Underma was more than $1 billion right now. The marketing value of Underma is about 20.5 billion, and Nike has 95.6 billion. Adidas has 15.5 billion. And then compared to 5 years ago, Underma increased about 128%. And then not only that, the annual average growth rate of Underma is about 62%. And Nike has 22%. However, Nike is still too strong. Under Armour still has a long way to go. We can see the picture. The value of the Nike is about $30 billion, and Under Armour just has $3 billion. So the question: do you believe Under Armour will surpass the Nike in the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No way.
Okay, therefore today I will argue that Under Armour has the potential to become #1 sport company for following the reason. Under Armour is developing the cutting edge technology, and they are acquiring celebrity endorsement, and they are expanding business overseas business. To begin with, the first important factor is they are developing a cutting-edge technology. Under Armour introduced a new technology called E39. Let me show you a short video to help you better understand the unique feature of E39.
This isn't just a shirt. This is the latest innovation from Under Armour. The E39 electronic compression shirt. Right now it's measuring Julio Jones' heart rate, his speed, even the G-force of his takeoff. From the brand that's on a mission to make all athletes better, comes the technology that will turn potential to reality.
As we can see, Under Armour is producing the technology that no other companies is producing. The E39 can collect your breath rate and your heart rate. After that, they will transmit the data to your smartphone or computer, and you will use the data to better train and to become stronger. However, some people argue, although E39 is very cutting-edge technology, they argue they just have one product, and Nike has a history. And you know that today is information age. Today is internet age. We use a smartphone every day. We can use smartphone to do a lot of things. So Nike introduced the app called Nike Plus in 2006, and there has a lot of technology for the Nike Plus. So they think the technology is more the technology of the Nike is more mature than the technology of the Under Armour. Well, this is maybe true, but Under Armour still introduced a application called UA Record in 2012. Although it is late to introduce the product, but UA Record still has 150 million users, and the Nike Plus just has 18 million users. This is because Under Armour you spend a lot of money to purchase the two technology company in 2 years ago. And also, Under Armour Record has the world's first 24 hours and 7 days connected health and fitness system. Having explored how cutting-edge technology make Under Armour become the #1 sports company, we are moving to discuss why Under Armour needed to acquire and celebrate endorsement. Under Armour could increase their sales because people often like to just their favorite athletes as their favorite model. Especially young children, they often look like the professional athletes as their role model. For example, Stephen Curry last year got the MVP and the championship, and which also helped Under Armour increase by 754% to become the #2 of U.S. marketing basketball shoes marketing. Let us take a short time to look through the sponsorship of Under Armour. Under Armour has different sponsorship in different sports fields: the basketball, the model, the tennis, and football. Today I'm going to focus golf, because Jordan Space will lead Under Armour to create the new golf world. Jordan Space is a top 2 rank of the golfer in the world. And he was only 23 years old right now. Under Armour has a strong sponsorship with him. And also, another reason is Under Armour. Another reason is Nike and Adidas quit to golf business. So it is good opportunity for Under Armour to create a new golf world. But some people argue that Nike has more than sponsorship than Under Armour. You can see picture. I think all guys know it. And it's absolutely it is true. But Nike became popular and famous in the 98, and they are famous for they sponsored Michael Jordan. And do you know Under Armour was founded in 1996? But so Under Armour can challenge the Nike right now. Under Armour will sponsor the NFL, it's the National Football League, after Nike's contract expired. And the marketing strategy of the Under Armour is sponsoring the young athletes who has potential to become a superstar in the future. So far, we have talked about how celebrate endorsements can help Under Armour to become #1. Next, we are going to discuss why Under Armour need to expand the overseas business. We can see the marketing shares. Last quarter alone, Under Armour's international sales climbed a staggering 56% year over year. But despite this impressive performance, they are only 40% from the international market. So it is necessary for Under Armour to expand the overseas business if they want to become the #1 sports company. There are a lot of business opportunity in international market. There are more than 300 million consumers in China, and the labor is cheap. China has the second largest economy in the world, and the Chinese people care more and more about bodybuilding, and it is increasingly turning to healthier lifestyles. However, people argue Under Armour came to China in 2012, and it is late to start the overseas business. If they want to become the #1 in the next 10 years, and they don't have the experience. What's more, China is a developing country. The market is not mature enough. It is a big challenge to introduce an unfamiliar brand to a new market. So how does Under Armour expect to compete with more interested brand in new international markets? Well, it may be true, but Under Armour stands for performance, innovation. This is an advantage that connects the new audience, and they can learn the experience from another company. So it's not a big problem. And the Under Armour hope to open 1,000 to the 1,500 stores in China in the future. To sum up, during the time Under Armour has, I've talked Under Armour has potential to become #1 sport company in the world because they have cutting edge technology. They are acquiring more sponsorship, and they are expanding overseas business. So can you imagine Under Armour will be the largest sponsor with the NFL, and the football athletes all wear the Under Armour's clothing and the Under Armour's equipment. Can you imagine when you're shopping in the foreign countries, you can see Under Armour store in every market, and there are not only Nike and Adidas, these two sports companies. You have more choice. That's just Under Armour. Thank you. Don't be afraid to ask me questions. Don't be afraid to ask me questions.
I'm usually shy, but I'm afraid.
I'm afraid too.
Okay, Garrett, so your point is that Under Armour will become the #1 sporting goods company.
Has the potential to become
Right. So what? What is the point of your presentation? So what is the purpose and who's your audience?
Who's my audience?
Yeah, what is the purpose and who's your audience?
I thought my point is because they have the cutting edge technologies, and they are acquiring this endorsement, established endorsement, and they are expanding the overseas business. These three things, Nike and Adidas, they all do. They has already finished. Has already done this. But Under Armour is on the way. He is doing these things right now. If they do well on these three things, they has potential to become #1, to #1 sport company. You know what I mean?
I understand. So who's your audience for your presentation?
All the people like sports.
All the people who like sports. Okay. Thank you, Garrett.
Yep.
All
Alright, question comes up, and I'm thinking about going to a store, a Nike store, and buying some shoes, maybe for basketball. But I'm not thinking about going to an Under Armour store to buy shoes. Because maybe I'm not concerned about like technology that measures my heart rate. So could you explain the disconnect and how this tailors to everybody?
Because of the time, I think I didn't present the technology detail about technology of the Under Armour shoes. So last 3 months ago, Under Armour introduced shoes, 3D printing shoes, running shoes, 3D printing running shoes. This is another companies. No other companies is producing. Do you know the 3D printing shoes?
No, I don't.
If you want, I can check you. I can check it right now. You want to see?
Just explain it to us.
3D printing shoes. It's like easy to make you. It's not easy. It's make you feel uncomfortable. You know the shoes? 3D printing shoes.
They take the mold of your foot. And
Yeah.
Print out.
It's hard to explain because, you know.
Did you buy it?
It's expensive.
How much?
It's expensive than you choose.
What is Nike's strategy to slow down Under Armour?
Strategy?
What is Nike's strategy against Under Armour?
It's good questions.
I only ask good questions.
Can you repeat again? Because my ear is pressed. Okay.
No. You're fine. Nike is the old, established company, and Under Armour is the new rising company. So, if you were a Nike person, right? If you were working for Nike, what strategy would you use against
the Under Armour?
Yeah.
So can I say Under Armour is doing something to prevent the Nike?
Maybe. Prevent them to do what?
You know that maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the contract, the sponsorship of the Nike will Nike will get older. A lot of people will retired. A lot of sponsorship will retired. Like there'll be LeBron James and Kevin Durant. They will all retire. And I have an American friend. He said he wear the Under Armour clothing when he was kid, and but now he wear the Nike. You know why? Because of he very like the LeBron James, and he really like LeBron James. He have to change it to the Under Armour. Change to the Nike. So it's the same thing like a Nike. Same thing like Under Armour. Under Armour sponsor lots of young athletes. They may become the superstar in the future. So after 10 years or the 20 years, these young people become the superstar. This is Under Armour's world, and that's good. And I can explain more about the expanding overseas business if you want.
I think we're okay.